This is my third time seeing the movie, and I swear every time I see something different. Is Oprah there? Willie? Oh, everybody's here. Okay, bring him, Forrest and Oprah Winfrey. They were upstairs talking to the overflow. Oh, good, Lee. Oh, that's good. The credits literally just stopped. Hey, sweetie. Hi, everybody. The credits. This is perfect timing because Forrest and Oprah were upstairs talking to the group upstairs, and Lee and I were coming down to get the conversation started. But without further ado, this is the third time, Lee, I've seen the movie, and every time I see it, I see something different. And somebody told me today that this movie was hard for you to, it was very hard for you to get made. And I would think after Precious, it would not have been hard for you to get this movie made.
It was very hard for
Why?
me. Well, I was going to do a film called Selma, which was about Martin Luther King and Johnson. And then that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so I did another movie in between. And then, but simultaneously, I was given this film by Laura Siskind, who produced Pretty Woman and As Good as It Gets. And she did all the franchise series of Spider-Man. And she said, you know, besides that, she created Stand Up for Cancer and raised.
But why was this particular movie hard to get made? That's what I'm trying to get to.
We were going to do it at Sony. And they wanted to do it for a certain budget. And it was an epic movie, you know. It was an epic movie, and it was between me.
Money.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
But
Money,
see,
right?
I know, Oprah, this is not the first time that Lee Daniels has called you to do a movie. Why did you decide that this time you would take the call?
Well,
Because you were in Hawaii.
how do you not
beat her?
take Lee's calls? Security is like, it's him again. And I said yes because Lee was really relentless. I remember being in Hawaii when you called me the last time. You said, okay, I'm ready, Gloria. Quit eating because you're going to need to lose weight for this film and get ready for it. And I was like, Lee, I got a network. I got to get. He goes, well, yeah, that network thing. You'll work that out. You work that out. And so I said yes for the opportunity to work with him.
And Forrest, this is the thing about you. Oscar winner Forest Whitaker, ladies
Oscar
and gentlemen.
winner!
We all remember, Forrest, Last King of Scotland, where you were just so larger than life, so angry.
Idi Amin.
Yeah, Idi Amin, just violent. And in this particular role, it's almost what you didn't say so many times, where you just had to be invisible and disappear. And when you think about the two characters that you play, are you more comfortable? Because I thought as an actor, it's almost counterintuitive to be invisible and disappear in a role. But you had to do that so many times.
This is one of the more difficult parts I've ever played.
Because?
I think there was a lot of technical things to it, you know, in regards to like the aging, in regards to like the accent, in regards to all of these different elements. But it became really about letting your spirit show what you're thinking and feeling. I think the movie is about like being able to surrender. For me, I had to surrender to the spirit of the character, and hopefully the spirit of the character would allow you to understand what he was thinking, even in these moments that are quiet. And
Is it odd for us to look in the mirror and see yourself as an older person?
you know what? It's odd. I don't think that when I'm 90, I'll look that old.
You don't? Yeah.
No. You know, well, you know, also because all four of my grandparents lived into their 90s. Whoa. So I know the way I look. I've seen their faces, you know, and they kind of helped me a little bit in the influence, I'm sure.
So you're not so worried about that. I know, Oprah, for you, Oprah used to always say, I just don't want to embarrass myself. I never thought that. I never, you know, it never occurred to me that you would ever embarrass yourself. But I know, to my knowledge, it's the first time you ever hired an acting coach.
Well, at his suggestion.
Oh, Lee suggested. Oh, you suggested it, Lee. I didn't know that was Lee suggested.
It was Lee suggested.
I
didn't know that either.
I didn't know her. I didn't know who she was, and so Lee said.
But that was Tom Cruise's. Tom, she had worked with Tom Cruise.
It was Tom and Nicole Kidman's and many other people. And Lee had worked with her and used her for other actors before. And he said, it's an instrument, and you haven't picked up the instrument in what, 17 years, And if you're going to pick up an instrument, you need to tune that instrument. So, and I, as you know, have problems crying. Everybody thinks that I'm a good crier. I'm an easy crier because I cry. Gayle at one point during the Oprah years called me and said, "You crying too damn much."
Yes, yeah, I did, yes.
Every day I turn on the TV, you crying about something.
Yes.
And I go, but I'm just feeling a thing. You need to stop all that crying.
Yes.
So I can cry if I'm in the moment with somebody and feeling the emotion. But as an actress, that was one of my biggest fears. And so Susan came in to help me to be able to cry on cue, to be able to tap into. So she came to my house, and you know the story. I'm not telling y'all the story, but in 20 minutes, I was like, oh, Lord. So I worked with Susan, to try to retune the instrument.
Were you ever worried, Lee, about the Oprah Winfrey thing? Because so many people say, how does she ever get past the Oprah Winfrey thing? Did you all forget that it was Oprah Winfrey when you were watching? Yes. Didn't you?
Well, they have to say it since I'm sitting here.
No, but were you concerned
people
about?
Don't say it. I've been in Chicago. I've been in Philadelphia. That's the first thing people say. Critics, people that talk to me, that you disappear, and I take pride in that.
Yeah,
I'm really.
I
proud.
take pride in it. Actually, Jane Fonda sent me a note and said, and I think that's the greatest compliment in the world coming from Jane. She said, "You disappeared," which is hard to do, you know. I mean,
because you were so deeply into the truth in the moment.
Yes.
But sometimes you were so into the moment and the truth of it, it was startling for me. You know, and I think when you live that deep into the truth, you know, then of course you disappear. You're living
because you're somebody else. You're taking on
another dimension you create. It's alive.
Yes.
You know.
Because I put zeal in my potato salad.
It's getting her to that point. You know, it's getting her to the point of just surrendering, which was difficult. But when she surrendered, she was on the floor rolling around. You know, like Anna Mañana could get up.
Yeah.
Literally. That scene's cut.
But Forrest, you're a director too, and I'm wondering, as a director, is it hard to take direction from somebody else? Because you're a director, and so I like your socks, Forrest. I like that.
If I
Real
trust
nice.
the person,
Yes.
thank you.
If you trust the person.
If I trust the person, then I give myself over to it is. I try to completely live in the character and have
I
a
could see
collaboration.
you going in. I could see Forrest going into the character as we'd sit in the trailer, we shared the makeup trailer side by side, and as he'd start to age, he'd come in as Forrest and he'd go out as Cecil. Oh, so I thought, I'm gonna do that too.
I'm going to try that too.
Oh, that's what you do. I'm gonna do that too. I'm gonna try that too.
How was it? Does Oprah Winfrey take direction, Lee? Because listen, I know she's somebody who likes to be in control. I know she's somebody who likes to be in charge.
Yes.
Was it hard to direct her?
No. Well, I'll tell you, in the beginning it was.
It was not.
It was in the beginning. For me. It's nothing to do with you. It's me. It's
because didn't she ask a lot of questions, like a
too
love
many
scene?
damn questions.
Like a love,
Yes,
like
too
a
many.
love scene. Tell the love scene story.
Okay. Well, too many questions. You know, she's always in. Each actor, though, is great. Each actor has his own
rhythm,
quirk. You know, thing. You know, and Oprah is just full of questions. I couldn't answer enough freaking questions. She's like, they're in the bed. It's the scene where she and Forrest are together and they were making love. So she looks around. She's what time is it? I go, does it matter what time it is? Well, what time is it, Lee? I said, it doesn't matter. You're getting laid. Shut up and get laid. and she put the covers over her head.
Is it morning?
What difference does it make?
Is it morning? Do I have the rollers in or the rollers out? Am I trying to get breakfast done, or am I like, anyway.
Now, are you and Forrest, you and Oprah are friendly, Forrest. I know you two know each other very well, and you're the only one on the stage who can answer the question, what kind of kisser is she?
Only you are going to ask that damn question, too.
No,
But it is a question people want to know.
You should ask me what kind of kisser is he, because he's the lead kisser. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm asking Forrest Whitaker.
no, she's a great kisser.
Is she?
Thank you, Forrest.
You can ask Terrence that too.
Oh, we could ask Terrence. We could ask
Sorry,
Terrence
yeah.
because it was interesting to see Oprah have a lover in the movie.
Not fun.
Nah.
But the thing is that we pulled it out. I mean, the thing is that I wanted it all. It's Lee Daniels.
He wanted me in my panties and bras.
It was that kind of party, and I was not going to let her talk me out of it. But then,
I did talk you out of it.
You did. But then you did. But then we went into a place where it was just sort of a kissing moment.
Yeah.
You know why? Do you know why? Because I said to Lee.
But you were right. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna.
I was
Hey,
right.
you were right.
That's right.
Yeah.
He wanted
You said to him, what did you say to him?
I
Well, she
said
didn't
to
want
him,
to-
if she, first of all, she's a mother and she still loves her husband, so she's not going to be sitting up in the middle of the day watching her soaps, you know, in her bra and panties, smoking. And once she does, the audience can never forgive her for that.
yes.
And I was like, they can, but then I thought, I don't know. In
No.
the edit room, as we edit,
No.
in the early tests, we tested, and
The early Tesses.
He's tired.
I'm very tired. I came from Chicago.
No, Lee and Forrest, by the way, guys, flew here from Chicago. They had a screening in
plane.
Chicago.
Yeah.
And they
You came
literally
here
got
to
off the
Chicago.
plane, and came here. But go ahead, in the early tests.
In the early test screenings, Oprah and Terrence were kissing and making out, and people were not happy. And I was like, her likability. I was like,
No, and there's a one scene where
And
he
so I
cut
just
right
sorta-
at the
I
end
just
because
sort of like cut it out.
it's not about you at all, really. I wasn't cheating.
Which is
On him.
On
yeah.
him. You know what else that I think is so important about the movie? The civil rights aspect of it. So many people do not know the history of the civil rights of this country. And Forrest, I was reading about you that at one point, were you bused 2 hours back and forth every day into school?
Yeah, to junior high, to high school.
So
Yeah.
did you have a concept of civil rights when you were growing up?
I had a concept from in regards to the figures that were in my
In your
neighborhood.
life, yeah.
Yeah, because the Panther Party was around the corner from my house, and we lived on 49th Street, so their office was around the corner, and so I would see them every day, and then the busing was happening. It was something. I went over to my cousin's house across town to be bused from his house to another neighborhood because I was supposed to go to Compton High, and my mom wanted me to go to a different school.
Yep.
So we figured it out.
What do you hope that people will get out of the civil rights aspect of this movie? Because I think it's so important. Starting with you, Forrest.
Well, I'm hoping that people will recognize that they need to stand up and have their voices heard. I think this movie allows you to see different people reaching for the things they believe. But in the case of, say, David, you get a chance to see that this person is fighting for social justice wherever it happens. And I think if it reminds people to do that, then it's a powerful story.
David, who plays their son in the movie, David Oyelowo. Yes.
I think it's a great American story, and I know it's hard to get audiences of all races and backgrounds out to see a movie, particularly what it takes to just go out to a film
Because race makes people uncomfortable.
Because race makes people uncomfortable. But it's such a great, for me, it's a drama and it's history, and it's also a great love story about family. And, so many people, particularly African Americans, are not accustomed to seeing other African Americans in film who represent family. And if you think about it, those of you who are not African American, I mean, when is the last time you saw a film where a family was represented with that kind of spirit and that kind of unity and that kind of caring? The truth is, that is who we are. Mm-hmm. That is who we are. And for me, that's the beauty of that story, is that is who we are. We love our children, we care for our families, we want the best for ourselves and for each other. And so that was my way into Gloria, because Gloria represents your mother and my mother and our mothers before who held the family together and sacrificed their own desires, their own needs. They didn't even have dreams of being anything bigger than what they could give to their family. So that was my way in for the character, and I hope people will come away with a sense of that. I remember years ago, Gayle, I told you this, to divert just for a second, watching The Cosby Show.
Yeah.
Remember The Cosby Show?
Yeah.
And I came into the end of The Cosby Show, and the credits were rolling, and Claire was sitting on the sofa, and Dr. Huxtable was laying on her lap, and she was stroking his head. And I just saw the credits, and I stood there welling with tears, and I thought, what am I crying for? Because I had never seen that kind of tenderness before.
Between black characters.
Between black characters.
Yes.
And if you think about it, you don't see it.
Yeah.
You see everything else. You see lust and love and all that other and heat and violence, but you don't see a lot of tenderness. And so what Forrest and I tried to create at Lee's direction, was that kind of intimacy and that kind of tenderness. I mean,
I love the intimacy between you and Forrest, and the first scene in the kitchen when you go, "I miss you, baby," and your son comes in and he said, "Oh, there they go again." And then when she died, did you see when Oprah died how she looked at the camera before she died, and then what Forrest you came
that's
back
called
in?
directing.
Is that what that's called?
I did that. I did that.
Did you see how
Well,
she
I
did
wanted
that?
to hurry up and die. It's really hard
No,
to do
and the
that
thing
scene.
that's so great
It's
about
hard
Lee,
to do a death scene.
Are you kidding me?
I
it's
don't
very
know,
hard to
Lee.
do
It's
a
like we
death
start
scene.
laughing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, is this gonna work? Oh my God, is it gonna
The
die
wonderful thing
right?
about Lee is that less is always more. And at the end of the film, I
less is more.
I gave him 2 T-shirts or 3.
Three.
Because no matter what scene you're doing, for Forrest, who is the expert pro Oscar winner, or for myself, he would say, "Cut it in half. Give me half of that." And then you do it, and you go, "What half? What's half?" Then he'd say, "Give me an eighth of that." And then he'd say, "Throw it away. Nothing. I want nothing." And so we're standing there going,
It's true.
What is nothing?
Just stand there.
What is
Stand
nothing?
there.
What is
Yes, Lee,
nothing?
what do you mean by give me nothing?
It means just don't do anything.
Don't do
Feel,
anything.
Feel each other. Don't even
feel.
use the words. The words are insignificant. Use each other.
So the
Be in the
scene
moment.
where he's
Be
coming
in the
home
moment,
after
okay.
the riot and King has been killed, and obviously I wanted to run. Oh, darling, how are you? And Lee goes, fake. Which, as an actor, is the worst thing. Fake? Did you? Fake, cut, fake. And so we kept cutting it in half until that scene, neither of us says anything. Because his point was that when you love somebody, you care for them, and they're finally there, and you've been together so long, you don't need to say anything. They're just home, and you know it.
And that's
all.
what, Forrest, that's what you did so well. So many times it was just your expression, and you could feel your pain, you could feel your love, you could feel your humility, over and over and over again.
That is called acting.
Both
That-
of them,
that-
though. Both
that-
of them were. What I think what makes great actors are people that are willing to. And this is going back to your original question, my direction for Oprah. Like, she wasn't Oprah. Oprah stating was Gloria. Gloria was
He only
her.
called me Gloria on the set. He wouldn't call me Oprah.
No.
Really? Is that what you do for them?
Absolutely. And she was humble, and I think, and so was Forrest. The humility was so profound, and humble and eager to learn and eager to please, and with always a yes. Okay, let's do it your way, Lee. Let's just do it.
You know what's so interesting too about a Lee Daniels movie? Your casting, Lee, is always so interesting to me. Jane Fonda. Wasn't it great seeing Jane Fonda?
Wasn't she
As
great?
Nancy Reagan. I mean, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Liev Schreiber.
Vanessa Redgrave.
Vanessa Redgrave.
Yeah.
I mean, so do you sit and you say, I want to get the least likely person that people would think? Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
Do you do this and think I want to get the least likely person that people would expect?
No, I thought that this movie deserved that type of cast, and I wanted everybody to see it. And I thought that I wanted to go back to old school. Remember Poseidon Adventure? When all those, remember, this is like everybody, Oliver Stone in the
Yes.
early 90s.
Yes.
And I just felt that this movie deserved that type. And what was great about it was that everybody worked for free. In particular, this lady right here. You know what I mean? They just, she lost
Work for
money.
free?
Pretty much.
Cost me to be in the movie.
And
At one point, I go, I think I'm paying you to be in this movie, Lee.
and so I
Yes.
think that they did it for the
Isn't that
material.
the truth?
That's for sure.
For the material, yes.
Y'all don't have to rub it enough already. Enough. I heard it enough on set.
Y'all, please go see the movie so we can.
Spread the word.
Yeah.
We'll take questions from the audience in just a second because I know it's getting late, so we'll only do 2 or 3 questions.
And Gayle, don't you have
But
to be up at 3 in the morning?
I do. I actually do. But I wanted to
CBS?
introduce a special guest here. The Butler is based on a man by the name of Eugene Allen. His son is here with us tonight, who came from Washington, D.C. Charles Allen, where are you? Charles Allen. We'll take 2 questions from the audience because I know it's late. Anybody? Deb Shriver? Who's going to call Sidney Poitier? And
Well,
tell him
Mr.
about the
Poitier was
film?
aware of the film because I wanted him to play. I offered him the Clarence Williams. The Clarence Williams played the Maynard character who teaches him how to play. But I had forgotten that I had written the stuff about Poitier.
He's the only director who can send Sidney Poitier the script and then call him up and ask him to be in the movie. And then Sidney Poitier, you want me to be in a movie where you're talking about Sidney Poitier?
Sorry.
Gosh.
So he knows about it.
Okay. Yes.
I just want to say that my mother is 87 years old, and she paints Black American history. And I want you to know that I saw this movie through her eyes. And you have told the truth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's beautiful.
You do? You want to? Anybody else? Lisa, let's take a few more. Always the director. Yes, Jeannie.
I just want to say thank you because first of all, I'm very moved by the movie. It was beautiful, and you were very sexy in it, Oprah. But I'm going to take my kids to this movie because I think it's really important for white, privileged Jewish kids to see this. No, it's not funny. I'm serious.
Yes,
because
I think you're right.
Because it's history and it's truth and it's disgusting what went on years ago. And that's it. It's just, it's beautiful. So thank you for doing it.
When I did, people ask me, I kept thinking, why am I making this movie? Why am I making this movie? And I'm making this movie because my kids who live a very privileged life on the Upper West Side go to Dalton. And they know...
Go to Dalton.
They know more about the story of Anne Frank than they do about the civil rights movement.
Yes.
And it's and my son gets confused as to why when he goes into the 7-Eleven, he is looked at. So it's it's the embryo, I think, of the civil rights movement, and I don't know. I hope we learn something. It's time to pull the scab off of this mess and look at it.
Yes. Ayanna Mathis. Amazing author of 12 Tribes of Hattie, Oprah Book Club selection.
Oh, God, she's back. Gloria. Come back, Gloria.
Oh, dear.
Oprah's
That's
back.
embarrassing. Anyway, I actually have a legitimate question. I was just hoping you'd say that. No, I'm kidding. No, I have a question because Gayle, you started asking about what you all hoped that people would take away from this regarding the civil rights movement, and it's so timely. I'm sure, obviously, you already sort of thought of it. You know, the 50th anniversary of the "I Have a Dream" speech is on August 28th, so that's coming up very, very soon. And I just wondered sort of what your thoughts were. In terms of kind of what's happening now, particularly what's just recently happened with the Voting Rights Act and what's happened in the Supreme Court, and not necessarily sort of politically where we're going, but a sort of sense in the way in which the film might be relevant given what's happening now.
I'm not a politician. I'm an artist, and I don't like talking about politics. I'm going to leave it to you two, because I don't want to really answer that. I don't know how to answer that.
Well, I just think that everything that you just said makes the movie more relevant now than ever before. So I think the fact that, you know, in the news, people will be talking about the 50th anniversary of the King's speech and everything else that's going on. You know, I used to speak in schools, and you know, when I had the time in the early years of when I was starting the Oprah show. And what I realized is that our children, African American children, and other children, Martin Luther King is a speech. You know, it's a speech you do the I Have a Dream, and so you can get 8-year-olds to do it and 12-year-olds to do it, but that's all that it is for them. So I'm hoping that, I don't think that, you know, young people are going to be coming to this movie in droves, but I do think that enough people will see it, their parents will see it, people like you will take your children, and the word will spread about this film, but more importantly, the film has been made. It now exists. It now exists. It now exists, and it's there forever. And that's why throughout the making of the film, I was one of the oldest people on the set, and I would say to Lee, you know, you got to get this right, you got to get this right, because this will be history for so many people who never read a book, who don't really understand, or, you know, are not going to read their history. So I think
it also is amazing when you think that
I
this
value
movie
that
came,
you're taking your children.
This movie started from a newspaper article. It was a newspaper article about Eugene Allen's life. Just think of that. A newspaper article about this butler who had been in the White House for 8 different butlers, and now it's on the full screen, different presidents, telling his story. That's the genesis. Forrest, did you want to answer her question?
I think that when you look at the civil rights movement and what the film depicts, the ideals of the country were built upon like trying to find freedom, that everyone has certain inalienable rights. And it's interesting because I think for the country to reach its ideals, we're continuing that journey. It's the civil rights movement that lets us, mirror that journey and see where we are inside of reaching towards the ideal of being a country where people are free, of being a country where everyone is fed, where everyone is educated, where everyone has a right to a home. It's that mirror that it does for us. So in a way, the civil rights movement is such a deep and rooted part of our history, is truly the history of this country, because that part is what we're judging, whether we will be able to live up to the ideals that this country was based on in the first place. So that's my answer.
Okay.
One more question and we're done. One more.
We're done.
One more.
I was just wondering, Oprah, we all know your association with President Obama, to play this character and then at the very end see President Obama be elected.
Yeah.
What that was like for you personally to play this character and
Oh
at the
my
same
gosh.
time.
That scene where we're both old people and wearing our Obama T-shirts.
Yes.
Oh my God, I love that scene. It felt like full circle, and I wasn't there. Obviously, the day that Forrest was shooting, sitting in front of the TV, and he wins. So, I was really, really, really. That's just a bonus. That's just a bonus that actually happened, and that I was involved, and we all wanted that to happen. And as Charles Allen could share with you, what's amazing is that his mother did not live to see him elected.
Yes.
His mother died. Was it just a few days before, Charles, or when? She died on the 3rd, and the election was the 4th.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Lee, didn't you want to do something with Obama in the movie at one point? Was that something you wanted to do?
We did. We went back and forth, and I thought it was way more powerful not to have him in the film.
Yeah.
Me too.
Don't you think?
Yeah. What was the back and forth? What were you
about whether or not we could get him to do that last cameo,
where he would just sort of turn his
face and smile.
Oh, I'm so glad you didn't do that. Why did you decide not to?
Well, we couldn't get him.
Oh.
He was in the
Thank you.
He was in the middle of an election. He was in the middle of an election.
President Obama said, I ain't been in no movie.
I ain't got no time for that.
I don't have time for no movie.
Yeah. Well, listen, I applaud you. Listen, I've seen it 3 times, and I said in the beginning, and I'm not just saying this because Oprah and I are so tight, but it was interesting to me. I was telling people on the red carpet, or the step and repeat, I was so nervous for her when she was doing the movie, and then nervous about seeing her in a love scene. Is that going to be uncomfortable? What's that going to be like? But it was so tender and loving that I felt none of those things. And then to see you smoking was so weird to me.
Gayle, this is what she said.
That was so weird.
She said to me, am I going to be embarrassed? She kept saying this, am I going to be embarrassed? Am I going to be embarrassed? And finally I said, yes.
Yes. Embarrassed about what? Embarrassed about what?
It's a hard thing to pick up the instrument and to go do it again. And everybody's saying, well, you should have stopped with the color purple. I just hadn't done it. And as you know, I was trying to build a network in between. Lee had a funny thing because I was doing the scenes in between shooting other
for
stuff.
next chapter.
So Lee would say, can we get Gloria on the set, or is Oprah shooting Rihanna? What can we do? So,
I also know you said that working with Forrest, I remember you saying this when you two were working together, that knowing that it was him also made it easier for you.
Yeah, because you're elevated by somebody who's as good as he is.
Forrest has said several times that, and I witnessed it, Oprah would do stuff. Oprah is really, she goes into this place she starts ad-libbing and she starts
I love
the
that.
drunkenness and this one didn't know what to do.
Yeah,
he would say that so magic would happen. And I'm like
so
holding
then
the camera.
You would start ad-libbing too?
Well, he would. She would
so
go into
strong.
like the camera. The camera's here. She's over there. Follow her. You know what I mean? So that leaves him running over on the side.
No, Lee, you're the one that said drunker. I want her drunker, and I said, Lee, if she gets any drunker, she's gonna fall off of this chair. So anyway, we worked it out, though. We worked it out.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Drunker.
And the movie opens
August 16th. Thank you.